Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salam alaikum for secondary grade. Today we have a revision from your book Mega Goal 1, and this is for Unit 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're going to remember what we've done through the last maybe 3, 4 units. So today we will learn, we have actually 5 objectives. 1, read the world of. So we're going to read the world of, I think it's credit cards. 2, we're going to remember the future with will and going to. And 3, modal auxiliaries or modal verbs. And 4, the question words with how many and how much. And 5, the quantity expressions. So for number 1, we're going to read about the history of credit cards, and for 2, we're going to remember the future tenses with will, infinitive, and am is are going to infinitive. So it's all about the future. And for 3, we're going to remember the modal auxiliaries, and other people call them the modal verbs. And 4, remember how we use the how many and how much in questions, which one is for countable nouns and which one is for uncountable nouns. And finally, some quantity expressions like some, a lot of, a little, and a few. So if you take a look at this picture, you can see a credit card, the Visa company, and a MasterCard in the backside. And we know now we're in the age of internet and fast, financial communications like credit cards. Many people now buy on the internet, and in the future this will, accelerate. So we will see many people using credit cards, especially when they travel, or especially when they do their financial, communication with others, and also when they buy on the internet. So what is the credit card made of? I'm sure you all have touched, or maybe some of you have a credit card. So it's made of plastic. So what is the credit card made of? State some uses of plastic. So if we move on to take a look at this picture, is full of plastic. So how do we use plastic, or where do we use plastic, or what do we use plastic for? We use plastic for vegetables, so we put vegetables here in this. Maybe chairs, so we can sit on chairs. We got a bucket here, and also we use them for oil, for water, for food, for drinking, as plates and toothbrushes, pans, and we use it for irrigation. And maybe we have some baskets for laundry. So we got really plastic all over us. And we need to remember that plastic is so hard to, throw it out in the trash. So most of the time, it's better to recycle it. So you can start recycling this in your house or in your school. So we're going to read soon about the history of credit cards. So I'm going to read for you soon the text, and read the text and write the sentences to show the history of the credit card. Use the timeline below. So it started here in 1949. Frank could not pay for dinner because he forgot his wallet. So we're going to read about Frank, who's a wealthy person. He forgot his cash in a hotel, and since that incident, he decided to find other ways or alternative ways so he can pay, and he does not have to stick to cash. So he can put only one credit card in his pocket, and he can pay for it. It could, if he's rich, he could have millions inside the credit card. And in 1950, something else happened after Frank forgot his wallet in the hotel, and that was in 1949. And then in 1950, something else happened, and 1952, credit cards were all over the United States. So here are some world of plastic, too many credit cards. And can you imagine a world without credit cards? If you don't have credit card, you cannot pay anything on the internet. You can't buy anything on the internet. You can also order some things to your house. You cannot really transfer money to other people or pay for hotels if you traveled outside or pay for airlines. Too many things you can use, a credit card for. Now, here is the text I'm going to read for you about the world of plastic, which is about the credit cards. It all started in 1949 when Frank McNamara scheduled a business dinner in a New York restaurant. Before he left for the dinner, Frank changed suits. When the waiter presented the check, Frank realized that he had left his wallet in the other suit. The embarrassing situation was solved, but that night Frank asked himself, why should people be limited to spending what they are carrying in cash instead of being able to spend what they can afford? After a year later, Frank returned to the same restaurant in New York. When the check came, Frank handed the waiter a small cardboard card, a dinner's club card, and signed for the meal. This event is known in the credit card industry as the First Supper. By 1952, the Diners Club card was accepted by thousands of businesses across the United States, and it became a status symbol for those who carried it. The idea of the credit card quickly expanded outside the United States. The Diners Club card became the first international charge card in 1952 with franchises in Canada, France, and Cuba. In 1955, Western Airlines became the first airline to accept the Diners Club card. Other famous international credit cards have been created, such as American Express, Visa, and MasterCard. In 1984, the first card members rewards program was created, aimed mostly at business travelers. It gave valuable benefits and special privileges to loyal users. So you see, we just read about the world of plastic and the history of credit cards. So here is the timeline where you got dates. The most important dates are four here that we got in the text. In 1949, Frank could not pay for dinner because he forgot his wallet. He was in a hotel, he was in a dinner. He went to change his suit and forgot his wallet in the other suit, and he wore a new suit and went to the dinner, and when he wanted to pay the cash, he was really out of money because he forgot the wallet in the other suit. So at that time, Frank started to think, why should people are limited to what they have, to the cash they have in their pockets? So in 1950, the Diners Club card, so he made a new card called the Diners Club card, was accepted by thousands of businesses across the United States and became the first international charge card. So that was really the first. So the Diners Club card was the first somehow credit card. So you sign and you pay for it. In 1955, Western Airlines became the first airline to accept the Diners Club card. So it started not only for dinner and at hotels or restaurants, it expanded for airlines. And this is the greatest date. In 1984, the first card members rewards program was created, aimed mostly at business travelers. And at that time, too many companies started to adopt the idea, like American Express, Visa, and MasterCard, and these are the most three famous credit card companies around the world. So after we read, we're going to answer some questions about what we've read. So the first question, how long have the credit cards been available? How long? You remember when exactly credit cards started to be so? Now we're in 2016, in the late 2016. Can you tell me how many years or when exactly it started? And a second question, why was Frank McNamara embarrassed? You remember why he was embarrassed? And what phrases was used? What phrase was used to describe the use of credit cards in contrast to the phrase paying in cash? So the first one, how long have credit cards been available? I think it was since 1950s. Somehow during the 1950, credit cards started to be official until now. So we got more than 60 years now, or maybe close to 65 years. Uh, why was Frank McNamara embarrassed? You remember why he was embarrassed when he wanted to, take out his wallet and pay for cash, and he forgot his wallet. So he didn't have enough money to pay for a business dinner because he forgot his wallet in the other suit. And you remember the phrase used to describe the credit card for paying in cash? It has become it's charging it. It means to refill it so you can charge your credit card with money and you can go anywhere and pay. Now, we talked about the future previously, about the future with will and am is are going to, and we use them for the future. Now, will or am is are going to, both of them are used to make predictions about the future. So every prediction is automatically about the future. When you predict anything, it means you're talking about the future. And in affirmative form, we say computers will perform many functions. This is affirmative. In the negative, we say computers will not. So you just add not. So how can we change an affirmative sentence with future, will or going to into negative? So you just take will and add with it not, and it becomes negative. So computers will perform, computers will not perform, and this is how you write it. Be careful to differentiate between the verb want and will not. And also for people are going to have, people are not going to have. So in both cases, in will and going to, we just add not. We just add not after will or after am is are going to. So we say, I will come tomorrow. I will not come tomorrow. He's going to pay for the dinner. He is not going to pay for the dinner. Let's take another example. We will play football. We will not play football. We are going to play football. We are not going to play football. So now the difference between will and going to, we can say, I will go to Mecca next year, or I am going to go to Mecca next week. When do we use will and when do we exactly use am is are going to? Well, we use will is used to express uncertainty, often with maybe or probably. And we use am is are going to express a plan that is already made or decided. So if you say if you say here, I will travel to Mecca, I will probably travel to Mecca, it means you're not sure. You don't know when, but you may not. I will travel to Mecca, but I don't know when. But if you say, I'm going to travel to Mecca next year or next week, it means you have a plan and you are sure about this. And maybe you have, packed your stuff and your bag is ready and you have, book the hotel, and maybe also, or not maybe, you also have the tickets, so you bought the airplane tickets. So you have a plan. You're 90% sure that you will do this, okay? Here, it's not certain, it's not clear, and we use probably and maybe as adverbs to, stress uncertainty. So, how do we make them negative? You remember, we just add will, not. I will go, I will not go. I am going to go, I am not going to go. So now rewrite the following sentences and change them using going to will or will to going to. I'll do number one for you. I'm going to record my presentation. So here we used am going to. How do we change it into will? You say, I will record my presentation instead of I'm going to go or I'm going to record my presentation. If you say I'm going to record my presentation, it means you are ready and you have a plan. If you say I will record my presentation, you don't know when and you don't have a plan. And you can say I will probably record my presentation because you're not sure. So here are the answers. I'm going to record, I will record. I will call you, I am going to call you. He is going to spend, he will spend. I am not going, I won't or I will not tell anyone. I am not going to tell anyone. If we move very quickly about the modal auxiliaries or the modal verbs, which we have here, to, must and should. We use must to talk about laws and rules. So it's a very strong obligation, like you must, drive slowly. You must obey the rules. You must stop when the traffic light is red. So these are rules and there is no question about them, so we use must. And we always say it's a must. It means there is no question about it. For should, it's a little bit, softer, so we don't have that great obligation, but it's still used for advice. So we give too many advice to our friends, like you should see a doctor, you should not smoke, you should drive slowly, you should pay attention in the classroom, you should take the medicine, you should sleep early, you should wake up early, and so on. These are all some kind of advice. So let's choose. What do you say? You must drive slowly or you should drive slowly? You must go to the doctor or you should see a doctor or you should go to a doctor? You must drive slowly. Okay? Or you must not drift. Okay? You must go to the doctor or you should go to the doctor? You should go to the doctor. But if you are very, very sick, then you must go to the doctor. Now, you remember about countable and non-countable nouns? We use how much to ask about the, quantity of uncountable nouns like liquids and like, things that have really small particles, like you cannot count them. Like, how much hair, how much sugar, how much oil, how much tea, how much salt. You can't count them, so you say, how much sugar do you want, how much tea do you like, or how much coffee if you're trying to use Nescafe, 1, 2, 3 spoons, and so on. How many is, we use it for countable nouns, which is the opposite of how much. How many books, you can count books. How many people, how many pens, how many doors, how many windows, how many cups, how many bags, you can count them. So what do we say here? I have eaten 2 sandwiches, and you have the S here. So this is countable. So how do you make a question here? I have eaten 2 sandwiches. How many or how much? If you have S and it's countable. So you say how many sandwiches have you eaten? And if you have tea and you have twice a day, Ahmed drinks tea. Can you count tea? No. So we say how much tea does Ahmed drink a day? And the quantity of expressions, if we put them in this nice table, so for countable or non-countable nouns, we say a lot and a lot of and some. So you can say a lot of books and you say a lot of sugar, a lot of pens and you can say a lot of milk. And also for some, you can say some books and some sugar, some tea and some windows. Now the expressions that we can count, of course, one you can count. It's always singular. One book, one car, one door. But for two and more, okay, two and more. Now we are in the plural. For two and more, we say several, many, and a few. Several books, many books, a few books, several pencils, many pencils, a few pencils, and so on. And expressions for quantity of non-countable nouns that we can't countable and they cannot come with an S of the plural. Much tea, much sugar, much water, a little tea, a little sugar, a little salt, and so on. So let's choose the correct answer between how much and how many. A lot of, much, many, and a few. John eats bananas, so you can count them. You see the S. So we say how many or how much? How many, because we can count bananas. He has a lot of or stamps, or he has much stamps. Stamps, so it's better to say a lot of stamps because it's countable. Nasser writes many words. Nasser writes a few words, and then Nasser writes a few words. And that was the timeline about the credit card development that started with Frank went to the dinner and forgot his wallet in 1949. In 1950, they made the first Diners Club card. It was accepted into many places in the U.S. In 1935, Western Airlines, so the Diners Club started to go to other companies like airlines. And 1948, many businesses started to use credit cards all over the world, and new companies like MasterCard, Visa, and other American Express started to go all around the world. Now, also today we learned about how we use going to in the negative and will in the negative. So we use going to express a plan. So you decided. So you have a decision. And am, is, are, we use after them not, and they become negative. I am not going. She is not going. We are not going to, and other. And in question, you just invert it. He is going to play. Is he going to play? You are going to do. Are you going to do? It's the same with will. We use it with probably and maybe because we're not certain about what we're going to do. And in a negative, we add will and not, and we write it like this. And in the question, also we invert it. We use the inversion. So I will play football. I will not, or I won't play football. They will come. Will they come? He will play. Will he play? And that is the question. And also we talked about how much and many. We use how much for uncountable nouns like water, how much salt, how much sugar, and how many for plural countable nouns like how many books, how many TVs, how many cars, how many pens. And also we had the table for quantity that we use a lot of and some for both countable and non-countable nouns. And we use several, many, and a few for countable nouns. And we use much and a little for non-countable nouns. That was all for today. These are the references taken from your book, the student book and the teacher's guide, and some clip arts from Google. You can actually refer to these for more extra activity. And finally, for more information and lessons, you can visit our website at ain.com. You can follow us on Twitter, and you can call us for any technical help. Thank you all for watching this. Until we meet again, have a nice, good day, and salam alaikum.